This news program is proudly brought to you by
Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits
and Now Biscuits.
Governor Bird raises law and order issue in Parliament. Information and Technology Minister to reduce internet rates. And Oro Governor calls on Lands Department to perform. Good evening. You're watching National EMTV News. I'm Rocky Issa. Thank you for joining us. Governor for East Sepik Province, Alan Bird, raised concerns on the law and order issue in the country during the recent Parliament sitting. Governor Bird says there must be an increase in the police budget in order to address the issues on ground.
Governor Bird raised concerns on the law and order issues throughout the country and said young people these days do not care about anyone. He says before addressing other issues, law and order has to be fixed.
We go and talk to foreign investors and we want to invite them in here. We want the private sector to invest and create jobs. None of those things are going to happen if there is no law and order. None of it will happen. It's as simple as that. They are going to bend them down. We can build roads. All back come na digging road here. We can go and put all kinds of projects. They are not going to work because there is general lawlessness going on.
Bird reiterated that amendments to the criminal code must be made to punish those people who are using harmful objects in committing a crime.
That we bring in amendments to the criminal code, first of all, that we make the penalty for the use of wire catapult, bush knife, or anything that is used in the commission of a crime a minimum of 10 years, just like we did for guns. I want to bring those amendments to the floor. Enough is enough. And then we have to build bigger prisons, whether we like it or not. Mibla lo isipik, mibla find out osem. If we arrest 20 people, we don't have the cells to hold them. We don't have the space at Boron.
Governor Bird further says he has already discussed with his district members to expand the prison camps and take care of the police force in the province.
Next year, suppose national government come, you may all gotta put in 5 million lo DSIP, you blah build him cell, police house, lo, district blah blah, and I will build the accommodation at Boron from the PSIP. We've got to take serious action because our young people don't care anymore. You drive the road, we go wire catapult by come through the window blue. When there's a fight, they don't just stick to the troublemakers all yet. Anybody who is suspected that you are fair game.
He gave recommendation on the floor of Parliament to increase budget for the police force and also to train more policemen and women to be on the ground to protect the people. Samantha Solomon, National EMTV News.
The Information and Communication Technology Minister, Timothy Masiu, said the high internet price in PNG is a big issue that his department is facing right now. He said currently his department's focus is to reduce the internet price in PNG. This was said following a question without notice during the Parliament session yesterday from the WOW Warrior member on what his department is doing to bring the internet price down.
The member for Wawaria, Marsh Narawek, raised the question in regards to renaming the ICT sector to becoming the digital sector. He said the major component of the digital sector is internet and central to internet is internet price, internet access and internet speed. He highlighted that we have been promised that the internet price will be reduced with millions of kina on investments. But right now the internet price in PNG is the highest in the region and highest in the world as well. He said internet is no longer a want, it is a necessity in the digital sector.
We have, for the last couple of years, invested a lot of millions of kina into connecting the Coral Sea cables, the internet cable that connects Papua New Guinea to Australia, and the Kumul national submarine cables that connect Wanimir to Port Moresby and to East New Britain, all these provinces in the country. So we have invested a lot of money into connecting the internet cables. My question is, we have been also promised that the internet price will come down.
Minister Matthew stated that there are a number of contributing factors that cause the internet price to remain high, and these are very technical areas where it will take a while for him to describe.
But I just want to say that it's like a highway where all carries a speed na ron longem. Highway ami also one pla big pla road. Ami gat tasol hablo yulo speed longen. Na gat lig road stop or feeder roads. Or feeder roads you come longen na you go inside lo this pla highway. So suppose you make sim this la pix sem. By looking more same time road time carry come long feeder road na go inside long highway. And by must waiting by carry speed go by must go past them. And then we can go inside the highway. And that's the simplest illustration I can give to our people to understand how it works. So now we have just one, and we are in the process of looking at creating maybe one or two more gateways in the country, so that we can have this movement taking place at a more speedy pace.
Matthew emphasized that the internet comes with a lot of issues, and that's where it leads to cybersecurity, cybercrime, and cyber abuse. As a minister, he said to sit and observe first how best his people can have access to internet that is fast and cheaper, because most of the people are using internet for things that are not right. Esther Gane, National EMTV News.
The Governor for Northern Province, Gary Juffa, has called on the minister responsible for lands and physical planning and its department to perform its duties to manage land properly in the country. Governor Juffa expressed his grievances in regards to the recent mass eviction at Morata in the National Capital District, which involved the shooting of a police officer with a bow and arrow.
Governor Juffa said the police officer should not be in this situation if the Lands Department has performed its duties to manage land properly. Juffa said as urban drift is something that has to be looked at and managed properly, the Lands Department, including the Department of Commerce and Industry and Investment Promotion Authority, must play its part in making sure companies, investors or individuals trying to get land are genuine.
There are a number of companies that are not genuine in how they're operating in our country. They are using Papua New Guineans as fronts. And a number of companies these particular type of companies have gone out and illegally obtained land for whatever reason or purpose. But the fact that they are using these companies as fronts, as PNG companies, is what we need to be concerned about.
Governor Juffa said land grabbing is not only an issue in the nation's capital but nationwide. He said this reflects the slackness of the Department of Lands to manage land. He further said around 40 million kina was given to the department to establish its IT system, yet it still lacks proper management.
An IT system that was developed for lands which cost this country, I think, more than 40 million kina. That in itself was a scam, by the way, and should be investigated. At a cost of 40 million kina for such a system, you would think we would have a very effective asset management mechanism in place to prevent these type of things from happening.
Juffa further called on the Investment Promotion Authority to do survey of companies operating in the country.
Deputy Speaker, the IPA has become a mere rubber stamp, inviting anyone and everyone into this country and registering anyone who wants to do whatever type of business in here. All these government departments, entities, etc., have a responsibility to protecting the economy of this nation and the interests of our people and citizens. And they have a vital role to play as enforcers of the laws that they are supposed to be administrating.
Cynthia Maku, National EMTV News.
The newly elected member for Dala Open, Ekimeme Gorosahu, during question time yesterday, directed a question without notice to the minister responsible for defense and disaster, Windaki, on the prolonged drought that is being currently experienced in his electorate and parts of the Highlands region. Member Gorosahu questioned if the government had plans in place to assist areas severely affected.
The member for Daulo Open explained that for almost 4 months now, most parts of the Highlands region, including his open electorate, had been severely affected by this prolonged drought.
This question, Mr. Deputy Speaker, I'm long prolonged drought, the Highlands region.
He queried if the government has any immediate action plans to further assist the drought-affected areas in his electorate and even other parts of the Highlands region. Responding on behalf of Minister Win Bakri, who was not present at the time the question was asked, the Prime Minister, James Marape, said he is well aware of this current situation in the Highlands region. He further explained that parts of the Momase and New Guinea Islands region are also feeling the effects of the drought. Prime Minister Marape assured the member for Daulo that the government will take a holistic approach towards this.
We are looking into how best we could have relief support, but national government will have a whole holistic approach to this issue. Prolonged drought is start long take place in the northern part of our country, including our New Guinea Islands. So, Megan Belly, Silo, you also Babla Luklulongan, and we'll have a program to assist our people in the drought-affected areas.
In the meantime, the Prime Minister called on respective district authorities in each electorate that has been badly affected to use available funds to assist areas severely hit by this drought. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues after the break with more national stories. You're watching National EMTV News. We continue with more national stories, and the University of Natural Resources and Environment Popondetta campus should be a primary independent institution functioning under its own powers and funding. These were the comments made by Popondetta Open member Richard Masere yesterday during question time on the 4th day of Parliament sitting.
Member-elect for the newly created Popondetta Open electorate, Richard Masere, during question time yesterday, directed a question without notice to Minister responsible for Higher Education, Research, Science, Technology and Sports, Don Pollier.
University attached to Vudal.
Masere pointed out that as it is now, UNRE Popondetta campus is secondary to the Vudal campus, hence funds for the UNRE unis are primarily directed to the Vudal campus, then diluted to the Oro campus. Certain issues faced by the Popondetta campus are not addressed on time or adequately because of funding constraints. Masere asked if the UNRE Popondetta campus can be given the mandate to function as an independent institution and given appropriate powers. Furthermore, Masere queried if degree courses can be offered at the Popondetta campus moving forward, as it is currently offering only certificate and diploma programs.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker.
The Honourable Minister for Higher Education.
This was Minister Don Pollier's response.
Enough midplay running degree course along Popondetta camp, along UNRE. The answer is yes. But midplay make that we can give the autonomy to exist as a subsidiary university to UNRE, but we'll give them the resources that are required to exist and finance themselves, manage properly. So that.
Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
The Media Council of Papua New Guinea conducted its first general meeting with newsroom editors and senior reporters today to ensure a way forward for MCPNG and journalists in the mainstream media houses. Since officially taking up office in September 2017, MCPNG executives have quietly assisted in their roles despite the lack of funds and the majority of support from its partners.
2017
Since voted into office in 2017, the executives of the Media Council of PNG has been quietly carrying out its role to assist reporters and journalists of mainstream media. The challenges faced during COVID-19 and meeting with high-profile individuals and stakeholders, including politicians, behind closed doors to voice the concerns of journalists is what MCPNG President Neville Choi, Vice President Gregory Moses and Secretary Belinda Cora have been doing. Today, in a bid to move and improve the Media Council of PNG forward, along with support partners PNG Women in Business Resource Centre and Transparency International, MCPNG executives met with senior reporters and editors from newsrooms. Participant Miriam Zarega, the Chief of Staff for the Post-Courier, spoke of the importance of the meet.
For us to gather like this, it's only given us sort of like the strength to carry on doing our job, and it also gives us confidence that we have a council behind us. So whatever happens to each of us individually out at the field, we know that there's someone there that's going to look out for us and someone there that's going to guide us.
Discussions were centered on challenges faced by newsrooms, training from graduates from universities who have been recruited into mainstream media organizations, as well as ongoing training for journalists. Newly recognized member of the Media Council of PNG, Chan Kaki, the owner of popular website UTalk, now known as PNG News, shared his thoughts on the meet.
We've learned a lot today, first editors meeting. And honestly, it's an eye-opener for an organization, an online website news organization. It's an eye-opener for us. And it really gives us confidence in doing our work, knowing behind it we've got the Media Council at our backs. Last week, the Media Council of PNG met with reporters from mainstream media, which was hosted by TIPNG at the picturesque Loloata Island Resort. This, along with the meet today, are part of MCPNG's plans to move the council forward in its efforts to not only support journalists, but give voice to those in the fourth estate. A new technology has been introduced to help civil engineers collect data and build good roads that can last longer. The machine is called Ground Penetrating Radar. Alan Aoba Keagamo of Mechanical Engineering made a presentation of this technology at the NCDC City Hall in Port Moresby yesterday.
Present to witness the presentation of the Ground Penetrating Radar technology were NCDC engineers and media personnel. NCDC engineers listened attentively to the presentation by Alan Keagamo of Mechanical Engineering. Mr. Keagamo explained that the GPR machine will be mounted on a vehicle, and when driving around, you can look through the surface of the earth on the screen and find out the cause of the deteriorating road.
It's a new technology and the equipment that is going to be used for collecting road data. Basically, we have been using this old traditional method of collecting data on the surface, but we are introducing another new technology that is called GPRS. The ray is going to be sent down into the ground to collect all the subsurface data beneath the road surface and the road pavement to identify where the fault is and the root problem of the road maintenance. So that is the overall thing that we are trying to introduce. So these are some of the technology which is not available on the show here. So we are trying to bring them in and train our local technologists, the engineers here, with the new technologies that they can adapt to it and then utilize that to maintain the road.
The technology will help construction companies to build good roads that can last longer using the information collected. Mr. Keagamo also mentioned the cost of this technology and other benefits of it.
Basically, the software comes in the whole package with the equipment. It will cost less than 5 million, but it includes the equipment, the softwares, and the training part of it. Everything that comes in a package. So it's not the cost is not actually it's not torn into different parts, but it's a package development that we are trying to bring it in.
Living in the technological world, such equipment is very vital as it saves time and cost for engineers to collect data for road construction and maintenance. Thomas Suliambari, National EMTV News.
In a recent Parliament sitting, the member for Kokopo, Ereman Tobainin Jr., asked the question without notice to the Minister for Intergovernment Relations, Soroi Eoi, regarding the plans on how to go about with the payments of ward members. He says these are the very people that are on the ground at the community level to support law and order.
This group of people include councillors, village magistrates and officials. Member for Kokopo, Eraman Tobaineng Jr. asked the Minister for Intergovernment Relations if there are plans in place to pay the ward members on a fortnightly basis and not after some months.
Recently, many of our ward councillors or ward members and officials were paid their allowances after 4 or to 5 months of waiting. Mr. Speaker, the situation, can the Minister inform this Honourable House if there is a plan put on our ward councillors or ward members, village court magistrates and officials on the government payroll, and so the allowances are paid on fortnight basis, and if so, when will this happen?
He further explained that this group of people used to play some vital roles in the community in terms of solving law and order issues. In response, Minister Soroi Eoi says some payments have been done and the department has already applied to the Department of Treasury to access funds for the rest of the payments for this year.
There are about 6,000 ward members, of which my department and the Department of Treasury had already paid for the last 4 to 5 months, from January to, I think, about April, of which, of that 6,000, 1,000 ward members have not been paid, mainly because of issues about accounts. And therefore, when the accounts are resolved, they can be then paid, obviously backdated to the time that they are supposed to be paid. Otherwise, my department has already applied to Treasury to access funds for the remaining part of this year.
Minister Eoi further says these people are the face of the government in the communities, and it is important to discuss this matter at the floor of Parliament. Samantha Solomon, National EMTV News.
Member for Bao District in the Central Province, Sepuka Temu, has called on the House to relook at the three arms of power, the judicial, executive and legislative. Sepuka Temu was asking the Deputy Speaker and the Speaker of Parliament under their powers to relook at the arrangements of this, as well as the parliamentary committees.
Member for Abao, Sepuka Temu, during the Parliament session, has asked the Deputy Speaker under his power as the Chair to make sure the three arms of power perform their duties separately and not be influenced by one body. Temu said most often it is the executive or the government who interferes with the legislators or the members of parliament, as well as the judiciary, the court systems of the country, which is unconstitutional.
However, I have observed that the executive government has always interfered through this legislature. For example, how many constitutional laws have gone back to the Supreme Court and said that's unconstitutional? Why? Because the executive government uses the numerical strength to get the numbers required.
Sepuka Temu also outlines the importance of the parliamentary committees. He said the parliamentary committee should be made up of both the government and the opposition, and not just government, where there will be lack of balance in making decisions that concern people.
I strongly believe that the members of the parliamentary committee should be appointed by the Speaker without fear and favour. There should be a balance in the parliamentary committee.
Sepuka urged the Speaker to be the one to appoint parliamentary committees and not the government. He further said that the parliamentary budget should never be interfered with by the executive arm of government.
I also believe that the parliament budget should never be interfered by the executive government. Once the Speaker presents the budget, that budget, nobody touches it. Like the budget of the judiciary, all independent arms here. Who is the executive to play around with the budget? Your budget and the judiciary budget. So these are the areas I believe I have observed.
Cynthia Maku, National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues after the break with more national stories. Stay with us. You're watching National EMTV News. We continue with more national stories. The Pacific Institute of Leadership and Governance is carrying out a roadshow program in the Highlands region. The first program was hosted at the Kimininga Hotel in Mount Hagen, attended by senior departmental heads and provincial representatives.
Western Highlands Provincial Administrator Stanley Mipe officially welcomed participants to this roadshow program. CEO of PILAG, Michael Barobe, announced that the institution will be offering courses for public servants vying for administrative positions. The courses delivered during the workshop were tailored to train public servants and interested individuals the role of the public service, general orders, and the Public Service Act. The participants were taught how to effectively apply the right concepts and procedures when carrying out public duties. Officials from the Department of Public Management and Public Service Commission spoke to the participants about certified roles and why such courses offered were necessary. It was revealed during the roadshow that qualifications from PILAG will be a requirement for public service positions moving forward. This is to eradicate unnecessary influences on appointments. CEO of PILAG, Michael Barobe, announced during the roadshow program that more trainings will be offered online come next year. PILAG team is expected to visit Jiwaka province this weekend. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
A total of 211 grade 12 students at the National School of Excellence, Passam, graduated in a ceremony at the school hall on Thursday. Among the graduates, 16 students have graduated under the Science, Technology, Engineering and Mathematics course, which was introduced last year for the 6th National School of Excellence in the country.
The Passam National School of Excellence in East Sepik Province hosted its 40th graduation for the grade 12s prior to exams. Passam topped the nation last year, with all students making it into tertiary institutions in the country. With this year's graduation theme, we embrace godly principle and self-discipline to produce good results. The principal, Samson Pitiki, is confident that they will top the nation again this year.
We have our two pillars, which are also driven from our school motto, which is godly principle and self-discipline. So these two pillars they guide our operations here at the school. So we empower our students to be self-disciplined, and that only comes about when they can be self-respected.
The principal said regardless of the good results produced in the school, there are some challenges faced. He said infrastructure and access to internet are the major problems faced in the school.
Out of the 6 national schools of excellence, Passam doesn't have facilities like our sister schools. We only have 2 40-man male dormitories, and the other one, which is only 1 floor, another 40, so let's say 3. And the girls also have 3 dormitories, and they are bunking up 3 in a room.
The DAX for this year's grade 12s was awarded to a STEM student, Wantep Pim. Thanked God for his achievements, and he mentioned that he always gives his best in his studies.
I really also want to appreciate one person who is always at my back, is my mom. Her prayers have made me come this far. I don't know what the future holds for me and what I may be in the near future, but I think I've climbed this ladder because of prayer and prayers and with the help of God, and I also give my best in what I do.
He mentioned that it was a challenge for him to take up STEM when it was first introduced last year. But he believes in education, that there is something good in it.
Personally, I've climbed up. I have not always been perfect. I made mistakes, I learned from them. And I know that learning from mistakes is the powerful way of learning.
The 211 students at Passam will sit for their national exam on Monday with the rest of grade 12s throughout the country. Esther Gane, National EMTV News.
Costing a little over 9 million kina, the newly built 4-wind market facility is nearing its completion. Maprik town, known throughout the greater Sepik region as the melting pot for economic trades in the east and west Sepik. This new market infrastructure is a game changer for the people of the district and the entire East Sepik province.
The construction of the market began earlier this year and is expected to be completed and officially open for public use before the year ends. Inside the new market, the 4 ground floor office spaces will cater for 3 BSP ATMs, public ablution blocks, storeroom, and a mini police post for the market. The top floor spaces will house the market's management authority, a security surveillance room, a convenience shop, and a mini setup of the Mama Bank. Maprik District Administrator Joshua Himina said the new market is a project he is passionate about and it directly falls under the breadwinner model, hence it is important to him. The breadwinner model is a concept initiated by Mr. Himina with the help of the East Sepik Provincial Administrator Samson Torovi to point out the importance of economy-generating facilities like the new market. This will directly contribute to enhancing the livelihood of mothers and girls as sole income earners or breadwinners in their homes. District Administrator Himina said the significance of infrastructures like this not only contributes to impacting the lives of mothers and girls, but also gives a new outlook of the district and its growth in development and infrastructure. He thanked the Maprik DDA Board, the East Sepik Provincial Government and the Department of National Planning and Monitoring for their support in funding and delivering the new market to his people. Himina also acknowledged the partnership between Green Hill Investment Limited, YFIG Group and Maprik DDA, which paved way for this new development. Florence Jonduo, National EMTV News.
Trukai Sports is next on National EMTV News. Stay with us for all the sporting action.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. We begin with volleyball, and the National Capital District Volleyball Association played its grand finals today in all its divisions, commencing in the early hours of today at the Tarama Aquatic and Indoor Centre. This was witnessed by the NCDVA Executive Committee, President and supporters.
Today, the Tarama Aquatic and Indoor Centre witnessed the grand final playoff of the National Capital District Volleyball Association, competed in the Women's Premier, the Men's Premier and A-grade divisions. The grand finals matches were observed by spectators, families, supporters and the NCDVA Executive Committee. NCDVA Treasurer P.T. Johan emphasized on the competition thus far and the clubs that have secured a spot in the grand finals fixtures.
Number of clubs that have secured a spot in the grand final today. There's only 3 clubs out of 8 clubs. In the women's divisions, we had Telecom in the 2 divisions, Women's A and the Women's Premier, and Jugu and Scorpions in the Women's A and the Women's Premier respectively. In the men's we had Costa Scorpions and Jugu, in the men's division, both men's A and Premier. So there's 3 clubs.
Mrs. Joang also emphasized on the clubs that have already won the grand finals in each of the divisions, while others are still underway.
Games have just been completed. The men's A, that's Jugu and Scorpions in the men's A division, and Telecom and Jugu in the women's A. In the women's A, Jugu beat Telecom 3-2, and in the men's A division, Scorpions came back from behind to win 3-2. They beat Scorpions.
Meanwhile, after the medal presentations of the 3 divisional winners, the National Capital District Volleyball Association will head straight into lead-up fixtures to identify, as well as the formation of the final squad that will represent the country in the Pacific Games scheduled to kick off in 2023 in the Solomon Islands. Lisa Puni, Trukai Sports.
To the National Soccer League, and in the Men's Southern Conference National Soccer League saw its round 3 of Game 1 played today at the PNG Football Stadium. In commencing the day, the Hekari United and FC Genesis took to the field, a moderately contested match which saw Hekari United defeating FC Genesis at full time, 1-0.
Today, the Men's National Soccer League hosted the Southern Conference tournament contested between 6 different clubs. In commencing the day, FC Genesis and Hekari United showcased a smooth match, which saw Hekari United proving too strong at the final siren beating FC Genesis with 1-0. The tournament, which is currently underway, comprises of 5 conferences, which consist of 6 clubs. That sums up to a total of 30 teams. This was detailed by PNG Football Association Competitions Manager Amjad Tekwi.
We kicked off in the Northern Conference, here in the Southern Conference, as well as NGI Eastern in Buka. And today as well, we've kicked off in Kimbe, NGI Central, and the Highlands Conference. So we have a total of 30 teams participating this year, 10 weeks competition.
Tekwi went on to add that these competing conferences will see winning clubs securing a spot in the upcoming FIFA World Cup qualifiers scheduled to be staged in January or February next year.
So we have a total of 30 teams participating this year, 10 weeks competition, and the finals on the 10th of December. So the winner of this tournament will go on to represent PNG in the OFC Championships in February next year.
Meanwhile, the Men's National Soccer competition, which is currently underway, has no particular sponsor at this moment, but the games are running smoothly and should achieve completion by end of this month. Lisa Puni, Trukai Sports.
Trukai Sports continues after the break with news on the Rugby League World Cup. Stay with us for the details.
Trukai Sports.
You're watching Trukai Sports. To the Rugby League World Cup, and the moment we all have been anticipating is finally here. The Rugby League World Cup 2022 officially kicks off tonight on your number one to watch, EMTV. Host nation England will battle it out with Samoa at 11:30 p.m. PNG time at the St. James Park in Newcastle.
Wonderful atmosphere here.
Tonight at 11:30 p.m., MTV will be broadcasting to you live and exclusive and free to air the official kickoff for the 2022 Rugby League World Cup. This will see host nation England clash against Samoa in Pool A in the opener. The match will be contested at St. James Park in Newcastle. The second match will be contested between Australia and Fiji at Headingley Stadium in Leeds tomorrow, Sunday the 16th of October at 4:30 a.m. PNG time. The Rugby League World Cup is a 4-week-long tournament. Australia has won the 2017 championships. They will look to defend their title in the likes of New Zealand, Samoa and England. PNG will be represented by its national men's and women's teams, the PNG Kumals and the Santos PNG Orchids, amongst 15 participating nations. Lisa Puni, Trukai Sports.
That ends Trukai Sports. The weather report is next. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
Taking a look at the MoniPlus weather report for the next 24 hours. Southern region, Port Moresby cloudy and rain, Popondetta cloudy and rain. In the Mamasa region, Lae partly cloudy and Vanimo fine. Nigini Island region, Lorengau and Buka mostly fine. And in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, rain and fog, Wabeg, showers and fog.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
And that wraps up the news, sports and weather for Saturday, the 15th of October 2022. From all of us here, pleasant viewing. Bye for now.
This news program was proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Gold Nuggets.